Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Lynn Wilson. Welcome to our home and welcome to our channel. Do you remember this guy over here? This is my husband Graeme. For all of you that are new and new to the channel, Graeme jumps on here once in a while and has words of wisdom for us. And
I try.
He does. He doesn't try, he does have them. So Graeme and I have been talking lately, and one of the topics that have come up, and that's what we're going to talk to you about tonight, is what does your stockpile mean to you? A stockpile is a very personal thing. It is a very unique thing for your home and for your family. You could be a family of one. You could be a family of many. And so what your stockpile is to you is based on your budget. It's based on the number of people in your family. It's based on the needs that you have. It's based on how much space you have, how much time you have to put it together. And it's also based on what level of importance you put on it. And so we were talking about, this all stemmed from, if you watched a video a few videos ago, I talked about we are changing up our stockpile, we're moving our stockpile, we're reorganizing, we're regrouping. Actually, that has already taken place.
Yes.
And I have a master shopping list that I am revamping, I guess you'd say, and a few of you have asked for a printable of that. I will have that for you. That'll probably be in about a week. I will let you know, and I'll make it a free printable on my website. But we have decided to revamp it, and that'll be another video as to why we're doing what we're doing. Yes, that's up and coming. We'll show you the final process and all that good stuff. But tonight we want to talk about what is a stockpile to you. And it has been quite a hefty subject, would you say, over the past 2 years,
yes.
Especially. I think many people have jumped on the bandwagon of using the buzzword stockpile. You have a pantry, you could have a everyday pantry, you can have an extended pantry, you can have a stockpile, you can have long-term food. It can be classified as many things, but I'll tell you, you put the word stockpile in your video and whoop, you can get 1,000 views that quickly.
Exactly.
Why are people so interested in a stockpile? What's intriguing about it? Well, there's a lot of things, but what are one of the things that we've recently decided and talked about?
One of the things that we've talked about is the fact that the stockpile, as far as we're concerned, has gotten a bad rap.
Yes, the name of it.
The name itself has gotten a bad rap.
Why do you think that?
And partly, I think, is because it is for ourselves. It's not really where we're heading in the direction of with what we
Our channel and
our
purpose of the channel.
Exactly.
If you were to ask me the purpose of my channel, I would tell you I want it to be a safe haven, a place where you could feel welcomed to our home, and a place where you could leave encouraged. And if you follow me on the community page, you would have seen me make a notation of that. If you don't follow me, I probably post there almost daily, sometimes more than once a day. So sometimes if I don't have a video posted, check out the community page. I'm always trying to kind of keep you in the loop of what's happening in the Wilson household. But I talked about that on there. And I've just seen, we've seen of late,
We have, yes.
People have taken the word stockpile and it created it into this monster almost. And there seems to be these people versus these people with the stockpile and who's doing what, who's right, who's wrong. And we kind of feeling a little like, not that we want to backpedal or anything like that, but we don't want a word such as the stockpile to define who we are, or what the channel is about. My channel is not about a stockpile. My channel is about everyday life and finding the joy in the little things and making a house a home, and how to create and do things on a budget, how to do things frugally, how to live in a frugal way. That doesn't mean we live a perfectly frugal life. We splurge, we do things, but we try and get as much on the cheap as we can and be practical and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I just feel like the word stockpile has really taken a bad name for itself.
It's the thought of it is that the initial concept of stockpiling is, I'm putting things aside for emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that Lynn and I have been talking about is, well, what do we consider an emergency? And to one person, an emergency is, well, I've got a problem in my family, and I need to have some food that right away that I can be able to pull from, so I can do it. To another person, what they consider an emergency could be something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that sense of well, what is an emergency? It can be different things to different people, and this is kind of where we're coming from. Is that
we started our stockpile, in case you're new to the channel and haven't heard why we even have one. And everybody has it for a different purpose. I had one of the viewers today I was reading, and she said she never had one until Superstorm Sandy, and she didn't have water or power for 3 weeks. And that's what made her realize that she needed to do something different. Many, many moons ago, probably 30 years ago, I should say I was raised with a mother, I think we both were, that always had a few extra cans in place. My mom always said it's always good to have a few canned goods around. She always had extra soup or extra vegetables. I don't even know what. But my mom always had something that we could pull on if hard times came. There was always extra food in the house. And I think your mom did the same thing.
Right.
There was just always something extra. I got married. We got married. We had our first child. And I don't think we really thought about it, to be honest with you, right? We just didn't think about it, and hard times came, and you always figured it'll be fine, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. And then one day, hard times came, and we found ourselves with 1 can of soup left in the entire kitchen. There was no pantry, there was no long-term storage, there was no stockpile. You can name it whatever you want. There was no food. There was 1 can of soup. And it was Campbell's chicken noodle soup. I can still remember it. And my husband had to go to work, and our oldest son was young, and I had to feed him. And there were no crackers. There was nothing. When I say there was nothing, there was a can of soup. And so I made the can of soup, and I fed my husband to send him off to work, and I fed our son. Obviously, he needed to eat, and that was the last meal of the day. It was dinner. And I didn't eat because there was not enough food. And I made excuses to my husband. Oh, I'll eat later. He didn't know. He was working the late shift, and so he went off to work. And I knew the next day we were getting paid, so I was able to go out and buy food the next morning and feed the family. But that was a wake-up call for me. And then later I told my husband it was a wake-up call for us that somehow, some way, we need to have extra provisions in the home. So we just started building on that. And I then started canning later on, and canned soup, so that we would always have soup on hand. And it was homemade soup, so I knew what was in it. And then we would just get things on sale, and we just kept building onto it.
Yes.
And then the last 2 years, being a YouTube creator, you do things a little differently than you maybe would have done, because you're setting an example, or at least trying to be an example to others, and making sure that you're showing things like that, as well as the pandemic and just the paranoia and the fear and the panic buying and all that stuff that went into it. So our stockpile grew quite a bit.
Yes.
We then were able to be part of a food swap with several people. So we obtained and were blessed with lots of extra food that we probably never would have purchased. Mm-hmm. Some things we never would have thought to eat, but we are blessed with it. So our stockpile became bigger than we ever thought it would be, which isn't a bad thing, not saying that. But just looking back over the past 2 years, sharing with you about the importance of a stockpile. So I think one of the questions we have for you all is, we'd be curious in the comments, what is a stockpile to you? What's the purpose of it? Do you feel it's needed? Do you feel it's not needed? I think it is important, right?
I think the importance of it is, right.
And like you said, people classify emergencies for different reasons. We just had a family member who lost their job yesterday.
Yeah.
And we put it out there to them. Hey, you need food? We have a stockpile. Hey, you need provisions? Don't even hesitate. We'll either pack a bag of goodies for you and drop it off, or you could come by the house and pick things up. What we have is available to help our family and friends when there is a need. And right now they're fine, they're okay, but I felt good to say I have extra provisions. So what are we trying to say here? Are we trying to say that a stockpile is a bad thing? Absolutely not, right?
Exactly.
Are we saying the word stockpile is a bad thing?
Mm-hmm. No, we're not trying to do that at all.
No. What I think you and I talked about were, there are a lot of people, and not going into, everybody has a different purpose.
Correct. Exactly.
And some people are more, what would you say?
Some people
driven?
Yes, that would be a good
More
way to say.
driven to have it, to call it, to be a certain size, a certain purpose, and all of that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's other people that think you're all crazy and you don't need anything and you're all nuts. We're kind of in the middle. I don't think think you're crazy and nuts, but we're not on this side of it either. I love what my husband always says. There needs to be balance.
That's exactly right. In any situation, it is so easy to swing to one degree or another, and I think the best thing is to have that balance right in the middle and say, okay, it's important, but not to go overboard either way.
I agree. I looked behind Graeme. If you hear snoring, it's our dog, Kip. Many of you have met Kip in other videos. He's sitting at the back end here of my husband's chair and snoring away.
Like an old man.
Like an old man. So, what do we want to end this with? How do we want to explain this? So, here's something that we've talked about since we've moved our stockpile. Pantry, overflow food, extended whatever you want to call it. I said to my husband, I heard it on, let me think of the name of the channel so I can give her credit. Forgotten Way Farms. If you haven't checked out her channel, I'm new to me. I've fallen in love with this channel. If you need something relaxing and just encouraging, check out her channel. Abby, I think her name is. Again, I'm new to this, but Forgotten Way Farms. And she called it her full pantry. That stuck with me. And I said to my husband, I want to refer to our stockpile now as a full pantry. And I put that out there. I said it somewhere. I don't know if it was on the community page or in one of my videos. I don't remember. And Tracy, I think if I remember correctly, said in the comments, a full pantry sounds to her, now I'm paraphrasing what one of the viewers said, sounds like saying you have a full heart. And when you think about what you're doing for yourself as a family of one, family of 2 or 3 like us, or whatever size, having a full pantry is meeting the needs of your family.
Correct.
Having a full pantry, like she said, is having a full heart. My heart is for my husband and my kids and even a pup, even the pup named Kip. Making sure that I have provisions to take care of us. I have provisions to make sure our house is a home. And that when we come home, there's food. And when I need to cook, there's food. And when there's a stormy day outside, I can make a pot of soup. And I have things I can put together. And she referred to having a full pantry, just having those things that you need to create the meals that will bring a smile to your family's face, that will make a house a home. And I'm paraphrasing a lot of what she said into my own words. And we want to have a full pantry. And I think the way we've moved our pantry, where we've moved it, and the reorganization of it has given us a full pantry.
Right. Well, one of the things that we kind of were discussing through this whole transition is when is enough? And because you start collecting food, but then it can get to the point where, well, you just keep going and you keep going and you keep going. But when you use this thought of a full heart,
Pantry,
and a full pantry, well, then I just know that I get to a point where when I feel sufficed that, okay, I'm full,
I have enough,
and I have enough, in the same way that at the end of a meal, when I feel full,
I don't need any more.
I don't need any more. I don't need to feel like someone needs to tell me how much, we'll just keep going. You don't, someone doesn't tell you keep eating. No, you just,
I have enough.
I've had enough.
So on that note, we're going to end the video. But stay tuned because we have moved our full pantry. We have reorganized it. We have thinned it out. We have made some changes. I think in the way we view it, the way we look at it, what the purpose is in it. And it's different even than I had this vision in my mind. I told Graeme, my mind is always a Pinterest look. It can't be a Pinterest look because I don't have the space, the money, and the resources. But it's much better. It has more of a purpose. I think it's more organized. And like Graeme said, we needed balance. I think we found balance.
Mm-hmm.
And the best thing is, we have created a full pantry. What do we actually mean by that? Where did we move it? Why are we calling it a full pantry? How did we kind of tweak it? You'll just have to come back and check that out.
That's right.
So we'll catch you all on our next video.
All right. Take care.